You don't need to be a CFO to talk strategy with other leaders, but if you're in a leadership role, you do need to understand how money flows through your business or organization and how your decisions impact the bottom line. Do you have the financial fluency you need when you're in the room with the CEO? Too many managers avoid financial conversations because they don't want to sound uninformed. But avoiding those conversations limits your influence, your credibility, and your chances of advancing in your career. Understanding finance is a foundational leadership skill for anyone aiming to make an impact. Today, I'm going to give you 3 techniques to keep up with the other leaders in the room when they start talking about the financials. Technique number 1 is to speak in terms of return on investment. Now, we did a video on ROI a couple of weeks ago, so go back and check that for the details on how to calculate it. But what you want to do is you always want to connect your projects to business outcomes, not the effort you and your team are putting in, not the hours you and your team are putting in, the outcomes you're getting. So instead of saying things like, we launched a new internal tool, say, we reduced processing time by 20%, which saved the company over $50,000 per month. Harvard Business School Online reinforces that framing your initiatives around ROI makes your message resonate with executives and shows you understand the big picture of the organization and the strategic objectives you're trying to meet. Technique number 2 is to know the big 3 numbers. You don't need to know every spreadsheet cell in the financials, but you should be familiar with the big 3. Those are revenue, what's coming into the business, expenses, what's going out of the business, and profit, what's left over in the business. You may also hear the term EBITDA, which is earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. That's a little bit more complicated. The important thing is you want to know, after revenue and expenses, what's left over for your little corner of the world and for the organization as a whole, and how what you do either increases revenue, reduces expenses, or increases profit or EBITDA. Now, I know it sounds obvious, but these 3 metrics appear in almost every business decision. If you can tie your work to improving one or more of these, your value becomes obvious to your bosses. Investopedia has a really solid breakdown of how these flow through a basic profit and loss statement, so start there. Technique number 3 is don't fake it, ask better questions. You don't need to have all the answers, but you do need to ask the right questions. So when it comes to financials, if you don't understand something, try some questions like, what are the financial trade-offs we're considering here? How does this decision impact short-term cash flow? And are there hidden costs or risks we're not accounting for here in the money side of things? Being financially illiterate doesn't mean having all the numbers memorized. It just means knowing how your choices fit into the financial puzzle for the bigger picture of the organization. All right, now you've got 3 new techniques to help you build your financial muscles. First, ask your finance team for a walkthrough of your business unit's profit and loss statement. Next, practice reframing your project updates in terms of return on investment or cost savings terms. Read the first 2 pages of your company's quarterly report and skip the jargon. Make sure you can explain what's going on there in your own words to someone who doesn't understand financial jargon. On the flip side of that, keep a finance glossary in your notebook. Get familiar with the terms you hear in meetings. If you don't know one, look it up. And if you're in a meeting and you don't know the answer to something, don't bluff. Ask a really good question so you can give whoever's asking the answer they're looking for. All right. If you found this helpful, like it and share it with someone who can use it. Also, subscribe for more tips like this. Tell us in the comments, what's one finance-related question you've been afraid to ask someone? If these kinds of videos are helpful to you, you might be interested in checking out our Be the Boss You Always Wish You Had program. It's a 16-lesson online self-paced program where you get more tips like this and more leadership that will help you become the kind of boss you always wish you had. And it also comes with weekly group coaching online. If you are an operations manager, training manager, HR manager, HR director, chief people officer somewhere, you've got a bunch of managers you need to train all at once in your organization, might want to check out our Leadership Academy, which is a lot of the same material from the Be the Boss program, plus some more. And that is a hybrid program where we come in and do workshops in your work area, in your organization once a month. And then we have one-on-one online group coaching on the weeks that we're not in your organization. So go out there, do great things today. onward and upward.